Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This week we're doing a theater pick, and it was Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, made in 2013. And we bring you movie news at the end of the program. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens.
Hello!
And the guy in the lower left-hand corner is Ryan Preston. This week it's Hansel and Gretel, and according to IMDb's amazing descriptions, in this spin on the fairy tale, Hansel and Gretel are now bounty hunters who track and kill witches all over the world. As the fabled blood moon approaches, the siblings encounter a new form of evil that might hold a secret to their past.
A new form of evil?
Yeah.
I didn't read that description, but that is not a new form of evil to them.
No, it's not.
It's not even a new form of evil in general.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, we already watched Warlock, so it's not anything uncommon.
I mean, what was the one with the witch legends started 1500s, 1400s?
I would say probably 1300s.
Yeah, crazy. Anyway.
So who wants to go first?
Well, I don't know. I want to ask somebody a question. Who the hell made me watch this movie?
Oh, wait. He can't see us raising our hands. we raised our hands.
Yes. Both of us.
You know, I wanted to see this movie because I actually like Jeremy Renner.
He thinks he's cute.
He's more of the action hero of our days. I mean, we actually had men. We don't have like these fairy godmother, sparkly things that came out. We actually have guys that are real guys that, aren't these skinny jean wearing, whatever.
You're still in
the Shia LaBeoufs of the world.
Yeah, I still can't. All right, calm it down.
Calm down.
Anyways, so
Waitress,
I like
get him
him.
a drink.
He did really good in Born.
Yes,
I liked
he did.
him in that.
He did good in SWAT with Colin
Thank you.
Farrell.
There's a bunch of movies. Hawkeye.
Oh, whoa.
What?
Back up. SWAT.
Well, but here's the thing. It's not a good movie, but for what the role was, he did a good job.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm agreeing on. The role he played was good. The movie sucked. The storyline sucked.
The dialogue was terrible.
But he did good in the role that he was given.
Yes.
With the script.
I mean, what?
Anyway, okay, let's move on. Let's get off this.
That's going to be
hey,
one of
I
my
let
pick
go.
at some point.
Okay.
Wring his neck. Anyway, where was I going? Anyway, I actually thought this movie wasn't that bad.
So I guess
I did kind of think that Van Helsing needed his crossbow back, though.
Yeah.
So you should. Do you want to go?
I'll go.
Because I'll go if you don't.
I thought some of the lines were pretty good. I mean, I thought they were pretty funny. I mean, like the thing of like, what did we learn? They started making jokes about it, like don't go in a house made of candy,
Yeah.
So I mean, with the lore and everything, and they just kind of had fun with it, and that's what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting a serious movie with a real plot. Something that's can't hold water. That's what I was expecting.
I'll be honest. I was hoping they were going to try splashing water on one of the witches just to see what would happen.
Didn't they? They did. They kind of like shoved his head in the water.
Well, I meant like the actual. I meant like a bucket, like the Wicked Witch of the West type of thing.
But I was actually hoping that when they were talking about the water thing, they were going to see if she floats.
Well, that's what
Come on, because we know that wood floats on water, and water which is made out of wood.
What?
And if they drown, they weren't a
burn?
witch.
I mean, come on,
Yeah.
For you kids out there, this is a Monty Python reference.
Yeah. Anyway.
Zoom.
One of the best ones out there. But that's kind of what I was like hoping they would do, is just make fun of it. And that's pretty much what they did. I didn't see anything really serious in this whole thing at all.
I'll disagree with you on that, but I'll get to it.
You do disagree with me?
Yeah, a little bit. I felt like I was actually kind of excited, in the beginning when I felt it was looking like it was going to be kind of a satire. Like the first time you hear him cuss, you're like, oh, this might actually kind of be like funny. But at a certain point, I don't think they could figure out if they wanted to be like Lethal Weapon buddy cop kind of thing, or just this like full on satire. And it seemed to be pulling in two different directions.
I think the best description was it's like Constantine but funny.
Well, Constantine was a piece of shit, so
yeah.
Like I said.
I don't know. I disagree with you. I think it was actually a action comedy through the whole thing.
Well, sort of. I mean, it did have some shades of
I could
kinda
see what you're
Sam
saying about the
Raimi's,
Die Hard
style of action comedy with, you know, heads exploding and things like that. But, you know, mixed with just the most pedestrian kind of like, oh, the witches, you know, with the blood moon and we're stealing the 12 children thing. That it was.
Well, I thought it was a
Shades
funny
of
movie.
Hocus
I
Pocus.
thought there was a lot of funny things in there. And was I the only one that thought that brother and sister were incesting?
Dude, I thought the same thing.
I thought at one point they were just going to totally start making out.
Well, they were sleeping in the same bed. I think that's what kind of.
Well, he was slept on the floor.
Yeah, and they had separate beds when they were children.
Yeah, but I thought there was like some incest stuff going on until he slept with the redheaded witch or whatever her name was.
Yeah,
In the
whatever.
pool.
Yeah, and then I thought, you know, well, now there's going to be a love triangle thing going on. But anyways, yeah, I thought I got an incest vibe that they were throwing out there that I didn't really know what the heck to do with.
I mean, there's half my point is I started focusing half on that shit and just waiting for the next kind of funny line to show up, whereas I did not give a shit about where that movie was going.
I didn't either. I thought it was pretty fun. I didn't care about really the plot. I thought I thought it was just a comedy.
Yeah, I mean everything.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Seemed just kind of convenient to move the story forward, and you know, it had shades of the whole. What it started reminding me of was fucking Wild Wild West with the giant mechanical spider and all of the crazy weird inventions.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking too. That's why I compared it a little bit to Van Helsing, because I mean there were some funny parts in Van Helsing, although that whole movie was crap.
Too, yeah.
Actually, I think Hansel and Gretel was better than.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was better. But anyway, and then, you know, kind of like what you're saying, there was like comedy mixed with the action, like Shanghai or Wild Wild West.
Yeah,
I think
See, when I like I said when I heard him start to cuss it seemed like it was gonna be that. If they would have went all the way with something like that and said, okay, this is gonna be, you know, the fucking the Todd Bridges version or Todd Phillips version of you know Hansel Gretel.
I was trying to figure out who the hell Todd Bridges was.
Huh?
I was trying to figure out who the hell Todd Bridges was.
You know, the black bald dude who was in one of them old shows I can't think of.
Oh, don't you? He was.
And then he did the celebrity boxing where he beat the shit out of Vanilla Ice.
Ted?
And you bitch at me for ancient references. Seriously,
Well, I
dude.
didn't mean to say fucking Todd Bridges.
We talk about set the Wayback Machine to the early '80s. Holy crap, dude!
But anyways, I don't know. I thought this movie was funny. I was surprised to see how many little kids were in the theater with it.
Yeah.
Like
See,
grandma
that's
and
the thing
grandpa
is, I'm
brought
thinking,
them?
like, who the hell would go see this movie? I bet you a bunch of people brought their kids.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's rated R.
Yeah.
I
Who
did
takes
not
their
notice
kids
that.
to a rated R?
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
it's not like Equilibrium. Rated R for just pure violence.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's rated R
Although
for.
it could've
nudity
been, you know,
and
everybody
cussing.
blowing their own heads off.
Yeah, their heads are getting exploded.
That's why I said, you know, shades of Sam Raimi, because it kind of reminded me of that Evil Dead style, you know, Army of Darkness style of violence.
It was. I think this movie took itself a little more seriously than I think parts of Evil Dead. I think this was like a comedy, action, and a little bit of seriousness.
And the seriousness seemed to have no place when they started playing on the comedy of it, or the comedy had no place, and then go really serious with it. And then where the hell are these weapons coming from?
Okay, wait. I got a question. Okay, seriously. I have a question. Where do you guys think this movie was serious? What part?
Well, with the whole trying to find the kids thing, and then the
What?
I don't know, the search for the blood moon, and them trying to, you know, be able to be old, and then they're trying to find out what happened to their parents, and they don't want to talk about that shit.
I don't think
All
it
that
was over the.
interstitial- Yes.
I don't think it was over the top serious. I just think it was serious. Certain parts were more serious than others.
Okay, let's
But
go.
but I don't think it was. You know, I think it was maybe on the tone of a little bit more serious Wild Wild West.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a little harsh on the seriousness, but
I
Yes.
think you are.
I
I
think
think you're
you are
taking
a
it a little
little.
bit too much, because I'm even like seriously thinking about the whole thing of, you know, the blood moon. That would seem like kind of a side note, you know, and then they try to bring it into the plot so that it wasn't, you know, just a full-on side note. The children, they didn't really seem to care too much about the children.
No.
Oh God, please somebody, think about the children.
I was
Anyway,
hoping somebody would
but-
make,
Somebody think of the children.
I was hoping somebody would make a Vampire Hunter D reference.
No, but and the
butt
weapons thing. I mean, even the skinny guy who had the crush on the girl, he even's like, "Where do you guys get these cool weapons?" And they just
Yeah.
blew it off. So I mean, that's kind of where I'm thinking. I mean, if this was supposed to be a serious movie, they would have actually taken it serious and had some, witch hunter from like way back when who creates all these crazy weapons, type thing. But they didn't. They didn't have a Q. None of that.
I think this movie's as about as serious as this Resident Evil 2 and up movie was.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, because if you watch this movie, there's little bits and parts that are serious, but most of it is humor, gag, and violence.
I don't
It
agree with
seems
you. I
like
think
they
Resident
skipped
Evil
over
was way too
making
serious.
Lethal Weapon
Well,
1
which one?
and Die Hard 1 and went right
Two,
to
three,
Die Hard 3.
Because the
10?
first Resident Evil was really serious. It took
Yeah.
itself really serious, and I think
Yeah.
okay, third and up, the second one was a little more serious, and I think the third and up, I think were just a bunch
I
of,
think the third and up,
I think
they
they start
still take
realizing
themselves
why
too
it's
seriously. That's why they're so bad movies.
and that's why they're funny.
Okay.
So is that your points, or
Yeah.
I guess I'll go because I agree with James because I like movies like this because of the weapons. The unfolding lever action,
That was cool.
the shotgun that turns into like a hook or something, the Gatling gun which appeared out of nowhere.
Yep.
He had it in a little trailer back there somewhere.
I love the dual-headed crossbow. Not quite sure how the mechanism would work, but I like the dual-headed crossbow.
I don't think it would work at all.
It's awesome though,
And I
it was-
like the slow motion of how she did that. It was just like,
And if you notice,
Really?
and the thing I'm wondering, if you notice, there were bubbles on the back of the mechanism where you loaded the arrows.
yeah, I saw that.
I wanted to see her load the arrows. Like, did she have to flip the other one upside down to load it? Like, was really curious.
Well, that's where I was
don't
kind of
think
saying
they thought it through that well, buddy.
yeah,
it was a repeating
Crossbow.
crossbow, like from Van Helsing. I'm like,
It
really?
was an automatic fucking crossbow.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
least semi-automatic. I mean,
And-
like she was letting loose on that trigger like it was a paintball gun.
And the other one is, I think the makeup was almost creepy. I think
Are you
if
talking about the dude girl?
the witch, the Jean Grey.
Yeah, the dude.
dude
Oh,
girl.
oh,
Well,
okay.
the thing-
I thought you were talking about the one that I thought was a
With the
dude.
spiky
That,
hair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. I think all the makeup in general was almost creepy. I think if they tried a little harder, it would have been more creepier. It was just funny.
Well, I specifically remember in the theater when they said that was a chick. I looked over at Jen. I'm like, I thought that was a dude.
Yeah, I had the same
And she
thought.
said the same thing. I was
Yeah.
like, wow, okay.
By the way, I love the half-legged, the vampire with no legs walking around biting
yeah.
people.
Yeah,
The
that was a
one-
witch.
The one part I thought was interesting was the difference in the organic feel between the black and the light witches. The dark witches, everything they had was a more dark organic. The white witches were really light organic. I liked that. I thought that was cool. And if you notice, the hunters had a more mechanical, modern day feel to it. The witch hunters, Hansel
Oh,
and Gretel.
okay.
If you
I
look
thought
at
you were talking
everything,
about the sheriff and everything.
like the witch hunters, everything had leather, metal. I thought they did really well on that theme, and I was really hoping Hansel was going to stab the witch with the insulin. That's the
Yeah.
I was
what?
hoping.
That might have been my favorite part of the whole damn thing, that he was diabetic.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cute.
Yeah.
I love when he was telling the story. I ate so much of that damn candy.
Yeah.
You have the sugar sickness.
See, again, that's another thing that I thought was just a funny plot thing that was just funny.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad they did because I thought it
No,
was.
I don't
hilarious.
find diabetic funny. I'm just saying I thought that was funny.
But I knew.
Just to get clarification out there.
Hansel and Gretel would be diabetic. That's fucking hysterical.
Yeah,
But I do
think
know
that's
some-
That
hilarious.
was a genius, and that's why it's like, okay, if you're gonna throw funny shit like that, and just keep giving me more of that, you know?
I loved his little watch thing, that little wind up
Yeah,
thing
the-
he had to wear.
Yeah.
I just in general, I just love the mechanics of how those two work together was pretty funny.
Okay.
But I love the lever action was the most hilarious one. It was just a
Like-
giant block. It just went.
Yeah.
I remember
Some
sitting there
pretty
thinking
interesting
like,
ammunition too.
I don't
Yeah.
think that would work.
Because I'm thinking at every stage you'd see powder blow out.
Yeah,
blow
that's what
out
I'm
of
saying.
it. Yeah.
There would be something, some gas escaping or powder or something.
And I love the
Yeah.
holy water they used or whatever that was and all the weapons. It totally reminded me of Dogma.
Yeah.
So I thought
Yeah.
that was great.
Except for they didn't have grenades.
They had grenades.
No, I said they didn't.
Oh yeah.
You know, like the holy grenade, holy hand grenade or something.
Oh, true. But they had the ammunition. That was close
Like
enough.
Blade, you know, yeah.
Oh,
those
yeah,
type of
yeah.
grenades. You know,
And
that's
the-
what I'm saying.
And the scene where the
Underworld.
witch, and the scene where the witch was going too fast and got sliced up was pretty
Yeah, that
entertaining.
was cool.
Stuff.
Reminded
was-
it reminded me of the scene from Resident Evil 1 with all the the cross-hatched lasers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was really well done.
That was
I thought that was pretty funny because he's just sitting there and I wanted to see more witches get sliced up like that
Yeah.
instead of one. I mean, he put if you looked in the when they first did it at night, there was like rows and rows and rows of trees
Like
ready
an
to
entire
cast these things.
forest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not to mention he puts it in like one section and really overdoes the shit out of it, and then expects him to come right through that particular path. It's like that's pretty lucky. I mean, spread those things out a little bit.
That's his Hannibal Smith moment.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
He's just a
80s
genius.
reference there, kids.
Well, I figured if you're gonna,
Well, they redid it recently.
That's
Kids
true.
probably
You
know.
kids might know. I don't know why I'm saying you kids like we have a bunch of fucking 12-year-old audience members out there.
I sure hope not. How about the way you talk?
yeah, no shit. So Ryan, what about you, man?
He hates it.
No, I don't. Okay, look, I don't have parts about it that I liked. Like I said, like the insulin part was good. It had some good lines in it. When they were the curse of the eating too much or the crawly things like I fucking hate that one. Just these little throwaway lines that were like, okay, that kind of caught me off guard and was really funny. But then after a while the lines started to look a little more out of place because it's like they started throwing in all of a sudden there's stakes to everything and it's all this action stuff and it didn't seem like they played on a comedy as much as they could have. That being said, I mean, they did sort of walk the line between like the comedy and the buddy action sort of thing going on. All in all, it wasn't that shitty, but I don't think it was that great either.
What did you think of the evil Jean Grey?
Yeah, seen evil Jean Grey before, with the whole Phoenix, and it was much better then.
Yeah, but she doesn't turn.
I don't like
funky
Famke.
looking. Huh?
I don't like Famke, whatever the hell her name is. Yeah.
I have to admit, I didn't expect to see her. I never expect to see her after X-Men, to be honest. But I
Yeah.
thought she did a pretty good job for being a movie that definitely had an odd mix of things.
Yeah, I think overall it seemed like this movie would have done better as like an indie film. I mean, it kind of overdid the budget. Everything seemed to be just a little over the top.
So you mean like if they had less money, they'd have to try harder?
Yeah, basically. Like,
Well-
I mean, when I was comparing it to Evil Dead, I think the reason that those types of movies are awesome is because they had this low budget and look what they managed to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Okay, well, the director of this, I should have looked this up earlier, but I didn't. He did a movie that I know John has seen. I don't know if you've seen it, Ryan. Is Dead Snow.
Seriously?
Yes.
That
So I
fits
mean
so
that
well.
explains so much
It
about
does.
this movie that I should have looked this up before. Anyway,
Wow.
Ryan, have you?
No, I
haven't
have
seen
not seen Dead Snow, although based on John's reaction, I'm kind of interested now.
Wow.
All right, this one is a movie about Nazis. Oh gosh, come on, let me search. Again.
It's the
I'm
ops-
already in, dude.
It's the
I'm already
Nazis.
sold.
It's the
I'm
Nazi
gonna
zombies.
get done with this, and I'm going to turn that shit on.
yeah,
So it's Nazi zombies in the Alps, right?
yeah, it's.
Oh, nice.
Let me give you the IMDb description.
no.
This one is from Where was this land year? Why isn't it giving me the land year? I'm trying to remember if this is a Netherlands movie. Isn't this?
I think so.
Anyway,
it's not American.
It's not an American movie. I think it's Netherlands or one of those two. Anyway, a ski vacation turns horrific for a group of medical students as they find themselves confronted by an unimaginable menace: Nazi zombies.
And everybody loves Nazi zombies.
That sounds like a perfect movie.
And
This movie is freaking hilarious.
It is.
It's got some of the funniest things I've ever seen in a movie. But anyways,
So
yeah.
to get back on Hansel and Gretel, Ryan, what did you rate it?
I'm gonna go for a 3 because I can't justify giving it a 2 because it um yeah, there were definitely parts about it I like. It didn't really have any kind of repeat watchability for me just because I didn't really give a shit about what was going on in the story. It was really just a handful of moments that were pretty good.
But those are the best repeat watchability movies because you really don't give a crap.
If it's
Like one of these,
it almost has to be a little shittier and that kind of funny. Same kind of funny, but just a little shittier of a movie, and then it has that kind of.
You keep talking crap about this movie. I'll pick Van Helsing.
Falls into that category for me.
So, wow, I don't think he heard you. He was trying to talk over you just a little.
I was trying to talk over you.
You failed.
That's all right.
So what about yourself,
You'll get the
James?
surprise. I gotta agree with Brian. This movie just gets a straight out 3. I don't think there was anything in there that would ever deserve a 4, and I don't think it's that bad to where it deserves a 2. So it set out everything that I think it was out to do. I do agree with Ryan in the sense that they did miss a lot of comedic opportunities if they were going that route. But I think they were trying to do, the mix of action and comedy. I don't think there was. I really disagree with you guys in that there was seriousness in it.
But I think there was some.
I don't think there was, and I would probably not like this movie as much as I did if I thought there was.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. I definitely give it a 3 out of 5. If this is on one of the alphabet channels on cable, I would probably watch it again. I don't think I'd ever go out of my way to see it in the theaters again. But
Yeah, no.
I thought it was funny. I personally
That's
like.
why I'm upset.
I liked the mix of things. I think there were a few things I wish they did a little bit better. Overall, I think this is a strong 3 out of 5.
Okay.
And the next part of the show is movie news. Who wants to go first?
I want to go first, actually, because I want to see what you guys think about this one. Okay, so I stumbled across this movie, and it's actually coming out, I think, next month.
You tripped over it?
Well, just let me get into it, and you'll see why I said that. Anyway, it's getting released next month on the 15th. And I heard nothing about this movie until, 2 days ago. And Ryan might actually have heard of it, being from that area. The Incredible Burt Wonderstone. Have you heard of this yet, Ryan?
Dear God.
I think I heard the title. I don't know anything
All
about
right,
it.
the reason why this one caught my eye is from the 3 people in this movie. Now, I'm not a big Steve Carell fan, but he's in it. And then we go with Jim Carrey. Hold on. And Steve Buscemi.
Okay,
So
maybe I have heard of this.
Who? I like Steve
Now,
Buscemi.
I like Steve Buscemi too, and this is
I
a
like
straight
all
out
fucking three of those
comedy.
people. I mean,
I like Jim Carrey.
I can't stand Jim Carrey.
I
Are
like
you
Jim Carrey.
kidding me?
No, not really.
No, he's not. He doesn't like. So now the premise of this movie really does kind of got me on the fence, and it reminds me of all the crap that Will Ferrell put out in the early 2000s. Magician Burt Wonderstone splits from his longtime stage partner after a Gorilla Street magician steals their thunder by spending some time with his boyhood idol, but blah blah blah. He comes back and tries to be a magician again. Anyway, now there's also what's his name is in here? I forget. One actual real magician from the stage is actually in here, and I'm gotta pull his name up. Copperfield is in here.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, just off the premise, it reminds me of all the crap that Will Ferrell put out. Like I said, what was it? Ricky Bobby. What was another one that he put out? The Rockstar movie.
Yeah, old school Anchorman.
Yeah, well,
all those.
not so much like Anchorman and things like that, but the one that really has me scratching my head is Jim Carrey's back doing I would actually say kind of crap comedy.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much what this is. It's
Well, his last-
and then I look, and then Dumb and Dumber is scheduled to come out in 2014.
Yeah.
The next one.
Yeah, what's his name just announced it.
So now I like Jim Carrey's serious roles.
That I agree with.
I'm not a big fan of all his comedies, although there was a couple early ones that he did. I loved him in Living Color. I thought that type of comedy was perfect for him. And then Buscemi is the one that really makes me kind of go, huh?
Yeah, he's the reason why I'm interested in this.
Yeah. I like some of Steve Carell's stuff, although I'm not a big fan of his.
Here's the question.
I'm still pissed off at him for Get Smart, the movie.
Yeah.
I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you did that.
Here's the question, though. Would you see it in theaters?
No. Definitely not in theater.
Ryan?
Yeah,
You would see this in theater?
absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, just based on those three people, and I think I've heard a couple of random things about it, but yeah, just based on those three people, and it's magicians and it's a comedy, I'm totally in.
I agree with you in the fact that these three people I think would work really well together. Buscemi, Carrey, and Carell. They would
Jim Carrey was my introduction into comedy, dude. Ace Ventura, when it came out, I don't know, I was probably 12 when shit came out.
You didn't watch In Living Color before that?
Thing I've ever seen.
That was your
that was your introduction. Wow. I thought you would have been In Living Color.
Oh no,
or something funny.
Wow. That was actually when I was probably 18. I discovered that.
I mean, my introduction to comedy was, you know, like Marx Brothers and things like that. But into the newer comedy, it was Homie Don't Play That. Straight out, it was Homie the Clown, and then all the Living Color guys,
from like the Marx Brothers and Abbott and Costello, shit like that. I mean, that was like my first like adult type comedy that I went to go see in like the theaters, and I couldn't even breathe the first 3 minutes. I was laughing so hard.
So but I agree with Ryan. Like these three guys, just the three right there. Like if I looked at it and it was like Carell and Buscemi, I would be. Okay, that looks interesting.
But the three together sounds
But the three together, like, really...
Yeah.
I mean, they could play off each other so well. And, I mean, I think some of Buscemi's, like, funnier roles, like Armageddon...
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got it
Rockhound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I stumbled across that one. I'm like, I don't like just reading the premise, but looking at who's in it,
well,
that makes me
think about it. Like they're gonna be putting themselves into whatever characters they are, and whoever chose these three people has some pretty specific characters that he wants to go for.
Well, I looked.
At which point, I mean, Jim Carrey, Steve Carell, those two, you put a camera on them, just let them kind of go. You just let them go for a couple hours, and then you take the good stuff at the end.
Yeah, but I looked at the director.
Maybe.
The director isn't really known for a lot. He's got a Cosby and a couple other shows in there, and then the writers are from Horrible Bosses. Other than that, they don't really have anything to be known for. Well, I actually liked Horrible Bosses some. Yeah. It was pretty funny.
Well, I was funny as hell. My next movie news is I'm interested. Do you know who Peter Dinklage is?
Oh, of course, the little guy from Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Go Dinklage, dude.
According to this, he joins X-Men: Days of Future Past.
Is he the little dude from Canada?
Well,
that's who he's going to play. No. I'm saying, is that who he's going to be playing? Is from Wolverine's old days?
Well, so far,
I can't remember the name of them.
So far, all I've read is he hasn't been. They're not saying. The rumors I've read is, and he might be the designer of the giant robots.
Oh.
But he's also joining Patrick Stewart, the guy who played Magneto. So
everybody knows who Patrick Stewart is.
Yeah. So
who?
He didn't play Magneto.
No, he did not play Magneto.
So that's the one I'm interested. I can't wait to see, because as an actor he's pretty good. I'm not a giant fan of Game of Thrones, but he did his role.
Game of Thrones is awesome.
I just had a hard time getting into it. But I do like his character though. He does really well in that character.
Just don't want Pete Smalls, whatever that one is. It was a bad movie.
That was the one I was interested in.
Now, Pete Smalls is dead. That's the name of it. I'm wondering if he's going to be playing. You know what I'm talking about, Ryan? The Canadian mutant group.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking
and there's
about.
That midget guy from there. I can't remember his name. And the chick that turns into an owl
I haven't found anything where they specify what character he's playing. That I haven't read.
Huh, that's interesting.
I've found a couple, but nothing that's like, oh, this is what he's going to play.
Well, I do like him. I think he's an amazing actor.
Because my other movie news is there's going to be a Hitman reboot coming. Guess who's playing Hitman?
That'll be Timothy.
Probably not Timothy Oliphant.
Paul Walker.
Oh, why the fuck would anybody want to go see that?
Yeah, right.
They did it again. They made a movie that people would have gone to see if had it been anything decent. But then you watch the first trailer, like, I don't want to see that shit.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was, because Timothy Oliphant in the Hitman movie was dead on for the video game character. Did a great job, and then you get Paul Walker, who's most famous for Timeline and Fast and Furious. Not a really good combination of movies.
Yeah. Oh man, no, not good. No bueno.
So what about you, Ryan? We're coming up to an end. Do you have any movie news?
You know what? I actually just wanted to get your guys' opinion on one thing. Somebody's doing a TV show of Hannibal Lecter.
I've heard of this, actually.
See, here's basically the description. It's sort of just starting to come out. Hannibal follows a young criminal profiler, Will Graham. Will, a particularly elusive case, he enlists in the help of Dr. Hannibal Lecter, but unbeknownst to Graham, Dr. Lecter is actually the perpetrator. Hannibal stars Hugh Dancy and Mads Mikkelsen.
They already have this show out. It's called The Following with Kevin Bacon. Didn't anybody tell them that show's already being done?
Well, you know, Hollywood. Why do one show when you could do two for twice
and
the
the
price?
other thing I have to mention,
why not, reboot a name that everybody's gonna go see.
Are they
but
trying
the guy
to?
who's doing it is Brian Fuller, and he's the one that did Pushing Daisies and Dead Like Me, which weren't half bad if they weren't for the network. And that's the only thing that kind of trips me out about this is NBC is doing it.
Yeah, this show's gonna get canceled in the first season.
Yeah,
easily.
I mean, is this also like they're trying to do like the Bates Motel show too?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's in line with that same kind of trend. Like, I don't know if these networks are starting to get scared by all of the basic cable stuff, the Walking Deads, or you know.
Well, I think what it is they realize they can't give you any more shitty sitcoms because there's so many. They throw so many out and see which one gets it. When they realize shows like Walking Dead and other shows of the ilk are making it,
and even networks just like FX, you know, are you know. TNT or whatever the hell, you know, all these people who are doing their original content. Netflix is even doing an original show now.
Yeah, actually, they've done two.
It has to step it up, and I don't know. This might be the first sign of an attempt.
Well, my thing is that they already screwed up multiple times on shows that they already had out that were really good, and then they just dropped them. Like, what was it, 666 Park Avenue? That was actually an intriguing show.
Well, I mean, if you just talk about networks in general,
and they dropped it.
If you just talk about networks in general, I mean, if you talk about going back a ways, there's Earth 2, there's Firefly.
Yeah, Firefly.
There's so many shows that network television just screwed up, and they were good shows.
Yeah.
So the problem is they like crappy sitcoms because people watch them, and they care.
Well,
you know.
Actually, I was looking at something, and IMDb had something that was pretty funny. They were saying that the years of 2012 and 2013 are going to be the end of sitcoms because of the crap that they've been putting out. Everybody's sick of it.
Yeah, and it's all the same.
Modern Family kicks ass.
Well, the difference with Modern Family is it's not the same show.
No,
like all the other sitcoms are literally the same shows, just retreaded, different cast, and brand new names. Everything else is the exact same.
Have you been watching American Horror Story?
Modern Family, I think, are the only two sitcoms that I can vouch for.
Wait, what was the other one?
30 Rock.
That's ending this year.
I know, but I mean, you know, it had its run. I mean, it's been on for
30 Rock. I can't get into sitcoms anymore.
No,
really
that's my issue. Is I've
tried, and I just think, you know, they're not funny. They've lost their humor.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to. I may watch the first couple episodes like I did with Arrow and really get into it. And
right.
Yeah, Arrow's good.
So we'll see.
No,
I have a feeling because of network television, because unlike TNT and FX, where they watch maybe thousands to hundreds of thousands, the alphabet channels do millions.
Well, I'm just hoping that Arrow doesn't turn into, like, what was that one? Dark Angel and Birds of Prey.
It'll turn into Buffy eventually.
Oh, well, no, hold on. Buffy kicked ass too.
Well, no, I agree with him. Buffy.
Well, I just meant
Buffy
the goofiness.
Was good.
The goofiness of Buffy. It's gonna have a cult following, but if it stays on a non-CW channel, it would never make it on an ABC, NBC, CBS. It won't stay. CW is a network. It's close enough to a cable
like a
network,
Fox.
to a cable network that I think they would stay.
I don't know. I mean, I don't see anything else coming out like Married with Children, Cheers, Cosby, any of those good shows that were on for a long time, like even Frasier and Seinfeld. They're not doing that anymore. They come out with all this.
Yeah, those types of sitcoms are never going to exist again.
No, it's just not possible.
They can't get good writers anymore. I mean, they've tried with a couple shows, but I haven't seen any of those go over more than 3 seasons. Yeah. And I'm not going to bother watching half of that crap.
So So, ladies and gentlemen, next week or next month, we're doing the Stanley Kubrick month. Is that right?
Kubrick.
I can't pronounce the name to save my life.
Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, how hard is that?
So I
He
guess
just fairy waved at you.
exactly. So next week is my pick, and we're gonna do, if I remember correctly, it's The Killing, made in 1956.
Is that really made in 1956?
If I remember correctly. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, as I
don't think it-
take a look.
Anyway, yeah, it's one of Kubrick's first movies, and it's a good one.
Yeah, this is one I've never actually seen. I didn't hear about it until recently. Yeah, 1956. So that's my pick for next week. And I gave Hansel and Gretel a 3. Ryan gave it a 3. And James gave it a 3. For Ryan, Preston, Jonathan Charney, and James Stevens, we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
They will support you. They will do referrals between clients. You can't ask for a more complete marketing package.
We love the windfall!
And you can too. Think advertising with the Windfall couldn't get any better? Well, it just did. For only $125 for a 30-second commercial filmed by Old Guy Tech TV, you can be seen and heard.